Okay, good morning, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning to you all. Thank you all for being here. Maybe the first, the first thing I should say is we have high-speed Wi-Fi, because I can see you all playing on your phones, like my teenage daughter. And we have password MENA 2018 for the Wii Wi-Fi that you'll see on your phones. Like most hotels in the world, they provide 5 or 10 meg, and we all use YouTube, and it stops, doesn't work. So we got 200 meg, and you should be able to have Wi-Fi access throughout the venue. I'm just going to quickly give a summary of theme and purpose and a few housekeeping points. And maybe while I'm speaking, I could draw your attention. In all your delegate bags, you have 2 agendas. One is Government Leaders' Day, and one is the main event agenda. 2 words that we hear a lot of at the moment: digital transformation. And with these 2 words, digital transformation, this segues into what everybody's calling the 4th Industrial Revolution. And accordingly, how we need to prepare our young people, our next generation, in digital skills, in critical thinking, and in readiness for work, which, well, a lot of people say we don't know what the next jobs are going to be in the next few years. And so we're in a situation where artificial intelligence, machine learning are the catchphrases, but you are policy makers, along with industry, and really we're here at this summit to meet and engage and to work that interplay between government, civil society and industry. Just as a little background, the innovation summits that we've been organizing for the last 9-10 years in the Middle East and Africa, they are very much a working event, and we started having 2-day summits. So firstly, as I say, I thank you all for being here and traveling and taking time out of your schedules. The feedback we've had in the past is that, as it is a working event, the details I'll get to shortly, many ministers, many officials and corporations have said, sorry, my name is John Glassy, by the way. I should have properly introduced myself. They've said to me, John, can we have the first day where we're all together engaging each other? It's a bit more relaxing, and then we get the proceedings going for the main event as of tomorrow, which is a busy working event. Now, like all conferences and forums, we print the agenda maybe 4 or 5 days ago, and then there's some last-minute changes. There's not too many changes. The infrastructure is the same, but I would like to just do a little bit of housekeeping, and particularly just to talk about the format of today, and then going on to Monday and Tuesday. So this morning, well, the most important thing to say is that nobody here is an attendee, is a delegate. Everybody is a participant. The whole purpose of this event is one-to-one engagement, that people spend time with each other, and hopefully solutions and partnerships are resolved out of it. It's very much a meetings-based event. I can say in the last 6 years, the meetings that have been arranged between government, industry and civil society at the Innovation Summits, over $470 million of partnerships have been particularly arranged, especially when we see ICTs for education, connectivity, and promoting critical thinking and content in schools. So just on today, as I say, it's a bit more of a relaxing day. We'll follow with an introduction. Firstly, I'd like to thank our host. This is organised in partnership with the Government of Egypt. The 3 lead ministries are the Ministry of Communications, Information Technology, the Ministry of Education, Technical Education, and the Ministry of Higher Education and Scientific Research. Tomorrow morning, the two ministers, the education ministers, Education and Higher Education, His Excellency Dr. Tariq Shoi and His Excellency Khalid Abdel Ghaffar will be making their introductions. And on Tuesday morning, the Minister for Communications, Information Technology, His Excellency Dr. Anwar Talat, will be making his introductions. And so, as I say, it's very much today a fairly relaxing day, but the purpose to be interactive. And before the introductions, and I introduce the Undersecretary for the Ministry of Communications, Information Technology, we'll then go on to having a brief presentation with our chair for the day, and this is Mario Franco. Mario Franco is the CEO of an NGO called Millennium At.Edu Sustainable. Maybe a little bit of background on Mario is he was formerly in the Portuguese government in the Ministry of ICT. It was him who came up 10 years ago with a very innovative approach of the financing of laptops in schools in Portugal. And we've seen this being a successful, it's called the My Magellan program. It was very successful in Portugal. And now the market has taken over. The government doesn't need to intervene. I said to Mario, our experiences, especially across Africa and the Middle East, of many governments are under pressure to deliver devices in schools, have that connectivity, have blended learning in the education system. We see in Kenya the large investment in the digital literacy program. The first phase was government money. 220 million was spent on the first million devices that were delivered. We've seen here in Kenya now, sorry, here in Egypt, so I've done Kenya, here in Egypt, they're implementing a similar device program for, again, for blended learning and for use of these devices for assessment. And His Excellency Dr. Tariq Shoi will talk about that more tomorrow morning, and that's really implemented from the 1st of September. And what I did say to Mario is if we could just, for the first 15, 20 minutes after Nermine Saadany speaks today, just talk about something which we're not allowed to say in writing. The word is failure, okay? And I can't have a conference called failure because the news would say hundreds of government officials attend failure event, okay? So we can't have that, but it's an important word because when we're under pressure, when policymakers and industry are coming together, industry is selling its products and services, policymakers are under pressure to deliver devices and so on, and some unexpected things happen. You don't see failure always coming. A simple example I give is in Gauteng province in Johannesburg. Well, it's one of the 7 provinces in South Africa. Johannesburg is the main conurbation. And they pushed for digital classrooms and went for the most expensive laptops, the most expensive system, paperless classrooms. And one thing that they didn't see, one thing wasn't expected when they went for the most high specification product was the problem of theft. And in fact, even to the point where these poor young kids at school, gangs have been waiting for them outside the school to steal their laptops. This kind of thing is unexpected. When we implement these new technologies, how it's part of expecting the unexpected. So that's very much the theme and purpose of this event, is fulfilling what many of you refer to as digital transformation, these 2 words that we hear a lot about. So just a little bit more housekeeping. On your Government Leaders' Day agenda, after the Undersecretary makes her introduction and then Mario says a little bit about the failure of implementing innovation and how to have solutions. We have just 5 keynote presentations But these presentations, the slots are about 40 minutes. They're aimed to be a bit interactive, so 20, 25-minute presentations. And please, there's then 15, 20 minutes for Q&A from the floor. So please, there'll be roving microphones. Please ask the speakers on the stage, which starts with Right Honourable Charles Clarke, who's the former Secretary of State for Education in the UK, who'll be speaking for Cambridge. And then we have Geronimo Silva and Jorge Secuto for JP Inspiring Knowledge. We'll have a coffee break, and then after that, the President of Discovery is Kelly Campbell. After that, Wael Abdouche from IBM will be talking about artificial intelligence. I'm told we must broach artificial intelligence. Maybe we can find out a bit more of the applications of that. And finally, actually not finally, there is one change. Salim Ede of Google, the head of public policy and government relations for the region, will be talking particularly about the future of digitization. As I say, these are interactive. Please ask your questions. Just one change. So your agenda here for the day, we have lunch starting at 2:50. We're just going to try and squeeze the day a little bit so that one additional speaker is His Excellency Dr. Majid Al-Nuaimi, who's the Minister of Education Bahrain, has just asked to say a few words for 15 minutes to close the day before we go to lunch. So, lunch will be on this level as well, just further down the corridor. And then the rest of the event takes place on the ground level in the Lakeview Ballroom. So if I could kindly ask, as many of you as possible, after lunch today, to go down to the ground floor level, visit the ballroom. That's where the exhibition opens. Please come and visit the exhibitors, maybe just for 30 minutes or so. And then on the evening, at 7 o'clock this evening, we have a reception by the poolside outside. So as I say, overall a fairly relaxing day until we get to, well, I suppose what we could really call the business end of the event, which starts, everything will be downstairs tomorrow in the main Lakeview Ballroom. It's a very simple format. In the mornings, we have Q&A panel sessions led primarily by government officials, and they'll stop at lunchtime. It's in a sort of normal classroom style setup. And then after that, everybody goes to lunch, the whole room clears, and we convert the room to meeting tables from 2:20 in the afternoon. So all of you as ministries, as universities, as civil society, you all have your dedicated meeting table. All I kindly ask is that from 2:20 on Monday and Tuesday, that you ensure these are staffed all the time, because many more people, you're just the beginning of the event. Another 250, 300 people are registering during the course of today, and they all want to come and see you during the course of Monday and Tuesday afternoon. And so there's a couple of housekeeping points, particularly for government officials. You'll see on the agenda for tomorrow, on Monday, it says high-level at 5:30, high-level ministerial meeting, Egypt's journey to educational transformation. We actually have we have two high-level meetings. You should have all received emails. So at 5:30 tomorrow, the Education Minister and the Higher Education Minister of Egypt will host ministers and heads of delegation for education on this educational transformation meeting for about 45 minutes for an hour. Separately, the ICT Minister, Dr. Anwar Talat, he is going to host a digital transformation meeting, which will also take place on this level at 5:30. And that is open for all ministries and officials who are non-education. So you're from telecommunications, ICT ministries, science and technology organizations. And again, that will take place on this level at 5:30. Nermine El-Saadany will talk about a little bit more about that. And then, after that, from 6:30 onwards, 7 o'clock, cars and buses will be ready for you tomorrow evening to have dinner in the shadow of the pyramids. Many of you know the MENA house, where we'll be having dinner at the pyramids. And then again, we go with the same format on Tuesday, Q&A panel sessions in the morning, meetings in the afternoon. And these meetings really are important. They're the fundamental engagement for the summit. Though that for the moment are the main housekeeping points. Once again, I thank you all for being here. Appreciate it very much. We're going to start the full proceedings of today. So if I could kindly ask you to give a warm welcome to Her Excellency Nermine Saadany, who's the Undersecretary for the Ministry of ICT. Nermine.
Good morning, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. I have the pleasure to welcome you all on behalf of the Egyptian government to the MENA Innovation Summit 2018. Our sincere thanks to everyone honoring us today with your presence. Today, we are holding this special event reflecting Egypt's distinguished geographical location, having participants from all over the globe, actually. A promising day lays ahead of us. Today, we will have opportunity to hear from our gurus on different fields. We invite you to reflect and interact actively while considering the impact of fast-changing technologies on policy matters. We will consider as well together the major educational transformations, large-scale projects, equity through high-quality digital content. I'm confident that we will listen to very interesting presentations and discussion on the advances on artificial intelligence and the future digitization and talent. Those topics are certainly hot topics not only for Egypt, but for the whole region. Ladies and gentlemen, the current revolution of information technology and communications reveals that no country can achieve sustainable development at all levels without considering ICT's tools as one of its fundamental pillars. Our summit is held today while the world is caught at crossroads between the revolution of digital technologies and the successive social and economic changes. We should take the responsibilities and duties to realize the aspirations of our people, bearing in mind those challenges. Several countries in different regions have achieved significant leaps from the concept of digital transformation to digital economy. However, all are now looking forward to more benefits of ICTs as exemplified in the Sustainable Development Goals by 2030. Egypt has a long-term vision for Sustainable Development Goals by 2030, a vision of a growing state that is consistent of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals launched by the United Nations in 2016 and corresponds to the desire of the state and the will of the Egyptian people to positively deal with the legacy of chronic socio-economic challenges. We are all well aware that a robust ICT sector is vital for any national development, growth, and key tool to achieve those goals. I talk to you today, and while Egypt has successfully made several achievements, we have finally produced our first local brand mobile phone with 45% of Egyptian components, as it is being exported as well to several countries around the world. We plan to set 10 clusters of electronic manufacturing in the next 7 years. We have launched 4G services, now currently studying the transformation to 5G services. Additionally, we have already started the setup of a knowledge city at the new administrative capital. We realized that in order to accelerate the achievement of the desired goals, there are 4 main pillars that we would like to focus and achieve our goals to implement. First, the continuous development of our infrastructure. Second, capacity building and raising the capacities of our youth. Third, the development and creativity of innovation and leading entrepreneurs. Fourth, adapting ICT tools to enhance economic social development opportunities. We consider MENA Innovation Summit your event, the gathering of all neighboring countries and partners in a unique setup for matchmaking and networking. This is the edge and the fruit of this event. I urge you all to take this opportunity to pursue your plans, seek partnership, and share your experiences. We are at an age where only through regional win-win solutions and real collaboration can anyone benefit, and our country and people will benefit accordingly. Once again, thank you so much for honoring us with being here together, and I wish you all the best and a pleasant stay in Cairo. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Nermine. And now I'm going to introduce Mario Franco. He just had to get kitted up on a headset because Mario likes wandering around. So please, Mario, tell us about failure.
Thank you. Oops. Technology is always the problem. Okay. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. I'm really happy to be here. And I thank you, John, the organization, the government of Egypt, for the kind welcome and hosting us. I come a few days before, of course, and we are thrilled to be here. The topic I want to talk today, as an introduction, is about failure. This was a request from John, and I think was a great idea, because one of the problems I see when I was in the government side, and now I work in different projects, is for having innovation, we need to overcome the failure culture. In many countries, in Portugal and other countries, failure is a big problem. When people compare companies with governments, if a company do a project and the project doesn't achieve, they say, well, it's normal. It's the market system. You have to fail, some win, some have success. But in the government, if you have a tiny failure, a tiny mistake, even if it's not your responsibility, you are in the front page. And they destroy your career, they destroy your ministry and the institutions. Because we have not learned how to change the culture of failure, to show to the public, to the media, failure is part of the innovation society. And this is the question I want to address to open the debate for today as an introductory topic. I only have one slide. Then I go to show with some mistakes how I learned a little Arabic. And because I'm in Arabic country, I decide to make this introduction mainly in Arabic. I never meet my teacher. I only learn through internet. I have a teacher, he teach me, then it's not only videos, I learn with many sources, but I have a teacher. Then every day he teach me Arabic, and we do it for 2.5 years. Then today, because I'm in Arabic country, I decide, even if I fail, I don't mind, I will try. That's my aim. And then I make this first introduction in Arabic. Thank you for your understanding. But the debate will be in English. أصحاب المحلي والسعادة والسمو بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم من دواعي سروري أن أكون في مصر الدنيا وإنه لشرف لي أن أشارك في هذه القمة المتميزة التي تجلب الحكمة للعمل الذي نقوم به ويمكن أن تساعد في خلق سياسات مبتكرة للتعليم والتكنولوجيا. لدينا تحدي كبير يقفوا أمامنا ويجب أن يكون لدينا حلولا وسياسات مبتكرة، فالحلول الموجودة غير كافية. كما نعرف التكنولوجيا جديدة لها تأثير في كل نواحي الحياة. التعليم يجب أن يتكيف مع النموذج الجديد وأن يقوم التحول نحو الثورة الصناعية الخبيرة الشاملة. وكما نعرف نحتاج إلى تعليم ينمي مهارات جديدة وخطة استراتيجية لتحقيق هدف كهذا، وهذا ممكن إذا تأملنا استراتيجية التنمية المستدامة رؤية مصر 2030. يمكننا أن نرى مستقبل التعليم كما يلي، وأن يكون مرتكزا على المتعلم والمتدرب القدير على التفكير المتمكن فنيا وتقنيا وتكنولوجيا، وأن يساهم أيضا في بناء الشخصية المتكاملة وإطلاق إمكاناتها إلى أقصى مدى لمواطن مرتاز بذاته المستنير ومبدع ومسؤول وقابل للتحديات يحترم الاختلاف وفتور بتاريخ بلاده وشغوف ببناء مستقبلها وقدير على التحمل تنافسيا مع الكيانات الإقليمية العالمية. هذه الاختلاف الجديدة ذات معنى نظري وعملي فتحت بشكل رئيسي عن طريق تكنولوجيا المعلومات والاتصالات الجديدة. كما نعلم لأن الابتكار نحتاج أن نجرب وأحيانا قد نفشل. نحن بحاجة إلى خلق ثقافة حيث الخطأ هو الدليل على أننا نفشل ما يمكن وما لا يمكن. في التعليم نحتاج إلى أخذ تعريف معنى الفشل وأن نكون مفتحين لتجربة أساليب جديد. نحتاج إلى ثقافة تستفيد من الفشل لتخفض وليس لتركب. الهدف في إجابة ليس فشلا، إنه معلم مهم في طريق التعليم والتعلم. الخطأ يحدث عندما يجازف الطلاب بالإجابة، ونحن ينبغي أن نختبره نهجة. في عالم التكنولوجيا والابتكار من المهم دعم من يستطيع المحاولة. في الحقيقة نحن بحاجة إلى دعم المجتمع بالكامل للتعليم من وراء الدعم الفردي للطلاب والمعلمين إذا أردنا الحصول على نظام تعليم ناجح. أتمنى أن يتقبل المشاركون الخراب المتميزون أخطائي وأن يدعمونني، وفي الخطأ اسمحوا لي أن أشارك تجربتي الشخصية لإظهار كيف يمكن أن تكون تكنولوجيا المعلومات والاتصالات أداة قوية لدعم المعلمين والطلاب. أنا أدرس اللغة العربية منذ 2 ونصف ولم ألتقي بمدرسي نجيب شخصيا مطلقا، لكنني أتلقى درسا كل يوم من الجهة الأخرى للبحر المتوسط، بحرنا المشترك، والذي ينبغي أن يكون رمزا لمعرفتنا المشتركة. ولأن هذه القيمة مؤسسة لتعليم كلمتي الأخيرة هي أن أشكر مدرسي للغة العربية الذي ساعدني في كتابة هذه المقدمة، لكنني سأتحول إلى اللغة الإنجليزية. مدرسي ممتاز، لكن التعليم صغير، وبعد هذه المقدمة المتوضحة فإن الأهم هي الأفكار التي ستشاركونها سيادتكم. أرجو من سيادتكم فتح النقاش. شكرا جزيلا. Then, what the debate is open about the failure and about the success. I don't know, it's always difficult to start. If somebody wants to make a question or a comment to start the day, or if somebody have some idea how to solve the failure problem when we are in front of a government institution or a ministry and we are blamed for a very small failure in our work or in our institution work, which sometimes is not our responsibility, but at least we take the responsibility for what happened. Then, how combine innovation for one side, which includes the possibility of failure, with the need to risk and to innovate in our work. One, please, gentlemen, sir, please.
Thank you, Mario, for the Arabic presentation. One question is, you mentioned the small failure puts you on the front page, is how to overcome the problem of the media and the scrutinizing of the media. Thank you.
Thank you. I think, well, to be honest with you, when we did the project in Portugal, and I was leading the project, just to give you an idea, Portugal is a country of 1.7 million people. 10 million people. And we deliver in 3 years 1.7 million computers. Then, at least half of the population, because the kids, because family, they are involved in the project. Then, in that time, we get a lot of support, but a lot of blame from the media. And that's where this problem come to my mind and start to think very deeply on the topic. Then, what we did after with the media was two things. First, we involved the media. How? In different ways. One way was sometimes press conferences are very hard. It's like to shooting somebody in the stage. Then what we did was we did some workshops with journalists which are working in the topic, specialized journalists for technology or for education, and give them contextualized information about the project. What are the main reports? We help them to interview important people outside of the country who were involved in similar projects. Then we educate the journalists, the specialized journalists on the project to avoid they come with news which were not contextualized. That was the first thing. The other initiative, we create media literacy programs even in the headquarters of the main newspapers and the main media. Then they invite the students to come to their headquarters, to visit the headquarters, and to produce an article, one page, the front page of the newspaper. Then, for one side, we help the students and teachers to understand not all the information is true, and what is the difference to go to a social network and write a post, and what is the difference to work in a newspaper or in a media and to produce one news, one article. Arba is different than just go and post. Then, in that moment, the media were involved in this process. They didn't stop to blame the program, but they start to be more sophisticated and not attacking small cases which have no impact in the project, but to discuss the content, if we have content in Portuguese, if the teachers are ready or not. And to be, I think this question is a very important question when we deal with the media and when we deal with the parliament. It's the same approach. Then we create a committee with the opposition, including to share. In other countries, I don't want to mention specific countries which did the project after us. They already create a committee in the parliament, a follow-up committee, because this project is a really huge project. If you go to all the country, everybody will speak, and it makes a political and economic difference in the country. Then this kind of problems is beyond the problem of the content, the problem of the management is the political management of the project. I think I answered the point in a short time. Okay. Any other comments? Just can you say your name, your organization, please? Please.
My name is Mukhtar Jweli. I'm the chairman of the National Board for Technical and Vocational Education in Libya. One more question is, could you tell us more about financing the project you mentioned?
Yeah.
Please. Thank you.
Okay. In Portugal, one of the advantage, because we had also limited constraints, we have constraints in the budget, was the way how we create the project, financially speaking. Then we have three stakeholders. We have the government, who invest 27%. We have the telecom operators, who invest the rest, 40%. And we have the families themselves, who invest the rest of the money. And this was important, because not only the financial, because if we compare 25 or 27% of the investment we did from the government and the taxes we collect from the project, because all the procurement of the computers, the procurement of the telecommunication infrastructure, all these pay taxes. Then if we compare what we spend and what we get in our budget of the government, we have superavit in the project. The second point is the fact that the telecom operators were investing in the project. This made them very active to make their communication system work, because their revenue was coming from the telecommunication. Then we support the project in terms of communication, not only with the investment they did in the project, but on the top of that, the investment they did in the telecommunication system to improve. And Portugal in that time became number 3 in mobile internet in Europe and number 7 in the world in 3G. Because they invest all the money they can to have the customers happy and to make money with that. The last point on the financing is the families have paid a little. Even the poorest families. And I can tell you a story. It's a very impacting story. When we have a very big discussion in the government if the poorest people pay. Then let's say we ask them to pay €1. Okay, it was €5. But for the Portuguese standard, €5 everybody can, in the end of the day, can pay. Then the poorest family pay only €5 for the computer. Then we went to, it's a very impacting story. We went to a very poor area in a school, and was a kid. And the Prime Minister was there and asked the kid, who gave you the computer? And the poor kid said, my father. Because it's not only the fact that when they pay something, they take care. And no poor computers disappear, in the poor areas, no one computer disappear. All people fulfill the program. And the sense of dignity of the poor people, they say, no, because the rich people say, my father gave me. Okay, but if it is poor, they say, the state gave me. They don't like it. They feel, and the father was very proud with the kid. And I can tell you many, many stories. Then, this is only to explain why we decide to engage the families. And the second point was when the computer was broken, we have a phone number. There is a gentleman here. He blamed me a lot about that because thousands of people phone him when there is something, even if the computer is working, but they don't know. They phone the company. They will present because they are not waiting for the manager of the school. They are not waiting for anybody in the middle to solve their computer problem. They just have a phone number, the computer belongs to them, and they phone to the company and they have to fix it. We have an agreement, a quality service agreement. They have to fix it in a short period of time. Then we involve the telecom, the families, and the government. And everybody was a good business for everybody because the government get more taxes than the money we put. The telecom make more money than the money they spent. And the families buy the service and the product for 50% off of the price. Because we don't get the taxes, because the discounts of quantity and also the investment we oblige the telecoms. Because we say to them, okay, you go to invest for 3 years. But after, the market is enlarged because it's not only the market of the students. You have banks, the e-banking. I know Egypt for now is investing in e-payment. Then e-banking, e-payment, all organizations invest in services. Then who make money? The telecom operators. Then it's like to enlarge the market share, to mobilize investments in servers. Even companies like Intel, like Microsoft, they put skin in the game because in the end of the day, they will make money later on. then this is a time of investment. It's seeding the market. Then with that, we create a real digital economy, because to provide all these services, you need to have software houses to develop the systems and so on. Then it was a transformation process in the country. But please, sir, just I answer the question, I think. I just ask to say the name and the country, please, before the comment.
Okay, my name is Hussam Osman. I am the advisor to the Egyptian ICT minister. I refer to the title of the talk, like the impact of fast changing technologies on policymakers and the concept of failure that you mentioned. My humble observation that the problem is we talk about fintech, we talk about edtech, but we don't talk enough about regtech, how to take and use technologies for better regulations, and how to use technologies to ensure compliance to regulations. I think what we need to do is we need to focus more, rather than talking a lot about fintech, edtech, and technology for healthcare and others, how to really, within the government scope, to use technology to come up with better regulations and to ensure compliance to those regulations. So please, if I have your input on this, thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Well, I don't have answers for all the questions, but I think there are two points which come to my mind immediately, and one of them, or maybe the two we use. The first one was the consumer, sustainable consumer. Sometimes we deliver the products, but the system of feedback from the consumer, from the user, is not in place. And this was, I can say, a mistake we did in the beginning of the project in Portugal, because we deliver, but the feedback went directly to the telecom operator or to other institution. Then the feedback process helped us with time to develop better approach how to implement the project. This, I'm speaking about the project itself. Now, in the Portuguese government in that time, we don't invest only in this project. This was a technological plan. We called a technological shock. Then one of the pillars of the program was the e-government approach. And the e-government approach, every year, 250 different procedures were developed. For example, and this is my second input, where we invest a lot of time in the last 15 years. One was, for example, to allow people to create a company in 1 hour. That was one of the aims. Now it's around 37 minutes. You can go to Portugal, in 37 minutes you have your name, the name of the company, and all, you can start work, okay, in 37 minutes. But we discovered one of the problems was the communication among the different institutions inside of the state. Because to get the fiscal number, you have to the Ministry of Finance. But to get the legal number, you go to the Minister of Justice then. And that was the reason why to build a company in that time was like 1 year. Then you go one, and after they ask you the same papers again, and the same, and the same, and the same. Then, what we did is to re-engineer the public administration information systems. Then, and because the leadership for these projects should come from the top. Without the top, you have lots of difficulties, because we are among friends and among people who deal every day with government problems. Then we know that if the Prime Minister sees the two ministers will ask the departments, and they can produce a report of 1,000 pages, why is not possible to do? Then you need a Prime Minister say, okay, but now please bring the other report which is how to do it. And that will take time, and sometimes there are real problems, not only difficulties, but real problems to solve, which legal problems. For example, in Portugal we have what we call the ID card with a chip, but you cannot have one single number because our constitution forbidden to have one number for each citizen. Then we have one card, one chip card, but you have different numbers in the same card, in the same chip. Then if you go to the finance, you use one. If you go to the legal, you use another one, but it's the same card. Okay, it's the same card. Then, but it was necessary, a law, to allow to put all numbers in one card. Even with a guarantee, then the numbers were separate, and nobody can. And this is very serious problem because, for example, if the people go to buy a house, they have to present their fiscal number to get credit. But we cannot allow the bank to know your else life. Then you cannot mix the number of social security with the fiscal number. And this is real problems. Then I think when we re-engineer the process, internal process in the government, it is a good help to make the process go. Then digitalization, internal digitalization of the government is the key, in my point of view, to have better function. Just two things. This year, we start to have the electronic prescription. Then you go to the doctor and everything is electronic. Then the fighting the fraud was immense. Then the government discovered a lot of problems in financing the health connected with the spending of medicines which shouldn't be. Then the process, in my point of view, is to invest a lot in the back office of the government. And then you have, and re-engineer the internal system. I think this is not all the solution, but is an important step to have better government. Thank you. Please.
Thank you very much. My name is Dr. Stephen McKee. I'm with LabTech and also on the Executive Council of World IDA. Mario, first of all, I'd like to thank you very much for bringing up a very important issue and one that's not talked about in education very much. And it really relates to programs which are transformative in nature and education. And, you know, I've worked in international education for 40 years. And most of our projects, 99% are successful, maybe 100%. But when it comes to the topic of ICT, and we put this in education, the failure rate is far, far higher. Portugal is not alone in this. I was at an event that I was moderating in India a couple of years ago, and we asked a group like this of senior educators, what was the percentage of failure rate in ICT-driven projects? And it was overwhelmingly huge. It was in the area we concluded between 70 to 90%, actually. And this is not talked about very much. So how do we deal with this issue? And personally, I've been on a mission to discover what the reason is for this, and because why do we have high success rate in traditional expansion projects versus those that have huge components or heavy components in ICT? And together with a number of partners like Intel and the International Society of Technology and Education, ISTE in the US, we came up with a framework that I'd like to share with you that puts it very, very simply, and we call it the 3I framework. And what it means is you need to take a holistic approach to the project. Traditional implementation projects like yours in Portugal, or what I called siloed projects. You do hardware in one area, you have teachers over here, you have curriculum in a different division, you have software is a completely different procurement process. And when you fragment the procurement process like this, you end up with a fragmented project, and this is fatal to ICT-driven projects. And so what we have is what we call the 3I. The first I is infrastructure, which is what you're talking about, putting in laptops, putting in network, putting in the hardware. And this is driven by hardware vendors. And it's usually the first entry point that countries go into. Let's equip everybody, and surely you must do this. But without the other two I's, the second one being infrastructure, That's the platforms, the knowledge platforms, the content. Now you're talking about changing the curriculum too as well. This will not be successful. But the third I is what we call info culture. And this is the ability of the teachers and the students to work together effectively to use both the software, the content, and the hardware effectively in the classroom. This is the transformative bit that many countries don't deal with. And it's probably the least amount of investment that's required, but it actually is like an insurance policy to make sure everything works together. And so if you can put 60-70% of your money in hardware, maybe 20% into the infrastructure, but that maybe 10 to 15% that you might or should invest in infoculture is often left out. And this type of planning process is often not taken as a concept because it's foreign to most of the way that projects are traditionally done. So we're starting to do this in some countries around the world, and when those countries that do this, the success rate is now going more towards that 80, 90, 100% on that. So I'd just like to share that with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, because it helped me to wrap up this first part of the session. It's a good way. I just want to conclude to say thank you for your attention, but my idea was only to open the debate, because you have the failure question at the student level, of the teacher, at the school, all the government, all the companies, all the programs, all the institutions. Then the idea, and this was suggested by John, is to rise and to learn how to discuss and learn how to, or start to learn how to manage this failure. If we want innovative institutions and innovative government, we need to learn how to manage the failure problem as the companies did. Then, thank you for the suggestion, and this concludes my introductory presentation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mario, if you'd like to take a seat, because you're going to chair the rest of the morning. Take a seat, Mario. You're at the end there.
Okay.
You're permanently stuck on stage.